Again, I believe people gets in the way of what we call justice, and I think the closest thing to justice is the exhibition of truth, the importance of truth. I think that's about as close as we can come to it.
God bless you, Rob.
Thank you.
There's another question up there. Here.
After being around so much and seeing so many different things, what would be your top 3 recommendations on how to get involved in the fight against prison?
Like top 3 things that people can do to get involved in the fight against prison.
Well, I think the 3 things that they can do, I give you, learn about prison and learn the impact of prison, learn who profits from prison and who are degraded by prison. I think there are many things to learn, but these are some of the things that you can learn about prison. You learn what prisons are, how they were erected, look at the origin of prison, and how that origin has changed over the years, how it has evolved, or if you want, devolved. Because at one time, I say prison was a concept that had a better evolution to it than it has now. It has devolved to the point, because at one time, if you had 7 years in prison, you had a lot of time. If you did 8 years in prison, 7, 8 years in prison, you did a lot of time. Now you do 80 years, you haven't done anything, you know. So, I don't know, looking at it like that, you know, I have to, you know, it depends. You know? I don't know if that answers the question or not.
I think that your answer is learning about it. It's like one of the best things we can do.
Yeah, learn about it and learn its function and how it evolved and the way it has evolved to at this time, because it definitely is not it's a devolution to the concept of the original concept of what prison was supposed to be. It's supposed to have been for rehabilitative purposes, you know. I think the Quakers are the one that invented what they call penitentiary. The word penitence comes from penitentiary. They thought 6 months in prison, and especially folks solitary. They thought that you would be redeemed to a point that you would be so penitent that you would never commit another crime. But people begin to go crazy. It's totally insane in that type of environment. And I think sometime in 1895, the closest thing that the Supreme Court came to ruling that solitary confinement was unconstitutional was in the 1895 case, but that's the closest it came. But that case never, set a precedent, which is another story.
You spoke a little bit about the presence of radical, like the Black Panther organization inside the prison. Was there a significant presence of the Black Panther Party and other radical organizations in there? And what was that like? What kind of work did they do?
In Angola State Prison, there was a lot of presence of, militants that during the late 60s and early 70s. There was a lot of that, but it wasn't, during the late 60s, early, it was a lot of that. And the involvement of the Black Panther Party and other groups, I think it was more heightened during that time. And their involvement, I think their involvement had an impact. But at this point in time, I think there's not any organization involved in it. The Black Panther Party, again, as an organization, doesn't exist not as an organization. But there are individual members of the Black Panther Party who never stop struggling. But that's the difference in joining an organization and joining the struggle. It's a difference. I became a member of the Black Panther Party, but more so I became a member of the struggle. Because when you join an organization, when an organization becomes defunct and no longer exists, you also deactivate. You become defunct. But if you join the struggle, you can never become defunct. Not if you truly join the struggle, because the struggle is unending.
And we have our last question.
Actually, I do not have a question, but I am going to elaborate on Robert's law is that after spending 31 years in prison and making changes inside, and then having the ability to come outside of prison and do the things that he is now doing, impacting groups and individuals and organizations like us and many other greater people, then he deserves to have the degree. And I told this to Robert one time. A lot of us are, we have been given the opportunity to go to school, and such as myself and my father, he became an engineer when it was, why'd you hit me, Dad? An engineer when it wasn't conceivable in that day and time, and I, like you, have been able to go to school on our own by choice and receive a degree. But he was put away a certain time, where his youth and his life was taken away from him. Any choices or any desires that he had was taken away from him. So, him being given an honorary degree, and he was not given one, he actually earned it, even more so than myself and you. And so, that's just my...
Thank you very much.